Hey, good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our DBT Google Cloud webinar. We're going to go ahead and get started in about 90 seconds as folks join us. So we've already got a good crew streaming in, which is awesome. We appreciate you spending time with us today. Maybe in the chat, so people get familiar with the webinar, can you reply in the chat where everyone's calling in from? I think we tried to catch as many time zones as we could, and would love to hear where folks. All right, Connecticut, love that. Thank you. Tokyo, Amsterdam, we've got global coverage. This is fantastic. Oh, it's so cool. I'm seeing like places all over the world coming in. This is awesome. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Like I said, we'll get started here in about 30 seconds. We'll get everyone in. Got a great crowd today, and appreciate you being here. There's all these places that I've either been or really want to go, so this is actually pretty fun to see. So yeah, again, thanks for joining us. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I know everyone's time is valuable, and we've got a lot of great material to cover. Welcome everyone to the DBT Google Cloud webinar. My name is Jeff Mills. I lead all of our partner marketing efforts here at DBT, and want to facilitate a conversation here with our partners over at Google Cloud. It's kind of hard to believe, but we're almost exactly a month past Google Next, which is Google Cloud's marquee conference of the year, which we had a ton of great announcements at. And so this is a follow-up to that to dive a little bit deeper. Just a little bit in terms of housekeeping. Where you chatted, there's also an opportunity for you to ask questions. So please use that Q&A tab to ask your questions as we go through. Chat, we'd love to hear what you think about some of the announcements or some of the demos, which would be great. We are recording today's event, and so that'll be available for both you and your colleagues who weren't able to attend to watch going forward. And then we'll send out a survey. This is where you get to tell us whether we did a good job or not, the things you'd like to hear in the future from the partnership. And so, yeah, really looking forward to hearing your feedback so we can make these as valuable as possible. So let's go ahead and jump in. You're going to meet the team that's going to be leading us through the conversation today. We're going to talk a little bit about the announcements and recap those from Google Next. And then my presenters and co-panelists are going to be sharing a little bit of the background of DBT and Google Cloud and BigQuery, as well as some demos. And then one of the big announcements that we made was our integration with DataFrames. And so we're lucky enough to have the product manager from Google Cloud that's focused on DataFrames to share with us what that is, how to leverage it, and maybe show us a little bit as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started and introduce you to our panelists. First is Jobin George, who I caught this on LinkedIn yesterday. Was just promoted to the head of partner engineering for data analytics in Google Cloud. Congrats, Jobin, and welcome. And then we've got Sandeep Karmakar, who's the product manager for DataFrames, among other things, from Google Cloud. Sandeep, welcome. Simon Ali on our side leads our PM product management organization focused on the Google partnership and the Google integration. And then, of course, you've got me kind of running show today. Again, I lead all of our partner marketing efforts here at DBT. So without further ado, let's talk a little bit about why we're here. Just over a month ago, or just under a month ago, we announced some deeper integrations between DBT and Google Cloud. And so a couple of things to keep in mind. The first big announcement was the availability of being able to deploy DBT on Google Cloud, formerly known as GCP. This gives you, our customers, a flexibility of where you choose to deploy DBT. Also puts DBT closer to your data infrastructure on Google Cloud. And also can help in terms of how you procure both Google's technologies as well as DBT's. And then Sai's going to jump into a little bit more details in his section about those announcements. So big things that came out of Google Next are support for DataFrames, being able to deploy dbt on Google Cloud, and third, by the end of this month, you'll be able to procure dbt through the Google Marketplace. So I'd like to start, without further ado, with you, Jobin. Can you talk to me a little bit about, I'm going to stop sharing so we can see everybody here. Jobin, can you share just a little bit about how you're seeing dbt throughout the Google Cloud ecosystem, and what that looks like from the Google side of the table?
Sure. I think dbt has become the industry standard for data transformation, particularly from an end-to-end analytics engineering workflow standpoint. This actually brings control and power to the data teams within our, within customers' organizations. Google Cloud being the truly open platform, we strive to ensure our customers get the best possible technology and products. We deeply embrace open source based products like dbt, and I've seen great demand and adoption from our customers as well. This is one of the reasons, because of so many customers asking for more and more from dbt, we deeply collaborate with dbt labs and onboarded onto GCP, Google Cloud Marketplace, and making it run on Google Cloud and so on. There are many reasons why our customers use dbt with Google Cloud, and why we recommend it to them as well. As you know, dbt brings software engineering best practices into the analytics workflow, including support version control, testing, lineage, and CI/CD, and a lot of things. Moreover, there are some customers are using third-party data applications running on Google Cloud, which is supported by dbt, and this increases the acceptance and adoptions beyond our own products and services as well. From a BigQuery standpoint, dbt Cloud is Google Cloud already BigQuery validated, an initiative recognizing partner solutions that have met a specific set of requirements to ensure the best possible integration. As I mentioned, as mentioned before, I personally manage this initiative and was fortunate enough to work closely with dbt to validate the product and see how customers embrace this. Also, most importantly, dbt allows users to harness BigQuery specific functionalities like partitioning, clustering, BigQuery ML, within their transformation, as well as like you mentioned, BigQuery DataFrames, which we will talk in detail later, and workload identity federation and so on. We are also working towards numerous deeper integrations as we speak when it comes to co-innovation, which will be announced soon as well. So overall, we have seen a lot of customer demand and adoption for dbt among Google Cloud customers, and we are really excited about the partnership.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Jobin. Now, I'd like to bring Sai into the conversation to kind of answer this question in reverse. Sai, what have we seen on the dbt side about the prevalence of Google's technologies across our customer base? We've got a couple. I think you got a couple of slides lined up here, and I'll get you squared away with those.
Yeah, I'll show some cool, interesting slides later on too. But dbt, we will turn 9 years old this year, and I think what we've seen over the last couple of years is actually, can you keep going through my slides really quick? If you think about how dbt started, we really started in 2016, kind of focusing on these like SQL Python transformation and bringing software engineering best practices to how analytics are developed today. And from there, we've built over time more and more capabilities, whether it's around like orchestration, development, observability, and then more recently, we've sort of, if you go to the next slide, transformed into this like full end-to-end data platform to help you manage the entire life cycle of how you ship a data product in like a fast, efficient way. Now, if we go back in time, if you go to the next slide and look at really how we started, it's really about the layers of the organizations and how we help our customers around, whether it's like organizationally managing your data environments and how complex they get, or it's like staying at the forefront of like how the data landscape is changing, whether it's through like Iceberg support or all the new cool AI stuff that's happening, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But also one of the things that we noticed with dbt fundamentally is like how it allows the different personas in your organization, whether it's your knowledge business workers, your analysts, your like data engineers, or like other power users that you have within your organization, and allowing them to contribute to your data analytics code in a very governed way without sacrificing cost or governance. If you go to the next slide, now specifically talking about BigQuery and Google, like this goes way back, right? Like BigQuery support was added in 2017, so over 8 years ago at this point. And looking at the adoption for BigQuery, it's just phenomenal how fast that has grown and how fast it continues to grow. BigQuery is the second largest adapter for DBT, and it has tens of thousands of active projects today in production. And I think that's going to continue to grow. And also what's exciting to me is seeing how much the DBT and BigQuery community is thriving and continues to thrive. So if you look through some active community developments in GitHub, for example, there's so many interesting projects that come up. One of our favorites is the BigQuery ML for DBT. This is like the DBT ML specifically for BigQuery. This was started in 2020. So even years ago, the community has been building a lot of really interesting, pretty advanced things with BigQuery plus DBT. And that's sort of why I'm really excited of all the new changes that we're going to release and more upcoming things that are going to come up. So if you go to the next slide, Mills mentioned this earlier, how we're releasing a new deployment for Google Cloud and also marketplace support coming soon. If you go to the next slide, like the Google Cloud deployment that we recently released, we've been working with the Google team for the last 6 to 8 months in very close partnerships, weekly calls, and we really built up the architecture for how cloud should work in a way that's very unique to Google Cloud, whether it's from performance standpoint, high availability standpoint. So I'm really excited for more and more customers to use this and get more really cool use cases that we get to see from Google Cloud plus DBT. If you go to the next slide, Mills, really quick. Now, looking ahead, right, this is just the foundation for how I think a lot of new advancements are going to be coming for DBT and BigQuery. So looking at that, I broke my little roadmap slide here into 3, right? Now, next, later. Now is really what we're working on currently that you can expect to see in the next 3 months. Next is 6 to 9 months, and then later is anything beyond that. And so right now, the big focus for us is workload identity federation. We're actually seeing so much support and requests for a workload identity federation, and I think we're one of the few vendors that fully support workload identity federation. And we're a big fan internally of using these ephemeral, short-lived tokens for any deployment credentials. So this should drastically increase the security profile of your deployments. And we already have a couple of customers in production using this. So if you have any questions, please reach out to us. I'm a huge fan of this pattern, how Google's doing this, and I want to see more and more of this standard across the industry, hopefully. We're also going to GA the DBT's BigFrame support that Sandeep's going to talk about in a bit, which we're super excited for. Big fans of Python internally also. The third thing that you're going to see is Private Service Connect. So especially with this Google Cloud plus DBT deployment, you should be able to connect to your BigQuery deployment through Private Service Connect, making your networking security teams a lot more happier for these advanced connectivity type requirements that you have. And like we mentioned before, you should be able to transact on top of Marketplace by the end of the month, which we're also super thrilled about. Now, kind of looking more ahead, the 2 big things that we are going to work on and release are Iceberg support. So we want to make it incredibly easy for you to materialize Iceberg table and use Iceberg in general. So we're going to be bringing that support to BigQuery in the next few months. If you're interested in Iceberg and if you're actively thinking about it and if you have questions, please reach out to us. We would love to work with you and figure out how to make this as easy as possible with DBT. And the second one is cost monitoring. We see this request across the board in general for DBT is, hey, I want to understand how DBT is driving costs to my warehouse. This way you can create a set of governance policies or figure out how to optimize how much these costs are, how DBT is driving cost into your warehouse. There's a bunch of other things that I can't talk about now, but hopefully we can talk about in the next few months. But I'm so thrilled. The Google team has been fantastic, and I can't wait for all of you to use it and give us a lot of good feedback.
So thanks, I appreciate that. I was going to ask you about what's next at the end of the webinar, but giving people all the goods up front, I really do appreciate that. Really excited for what the next steps are going to look like. So we've talked a little bit about why we were doing what we're doing. We've talked a little bit about the impact that we're having on both on either side of the equation and what product integrations are coming. But I'd actually like Jobin. I always come to these webinars and say, I hope they show me something. I hope they show me some product, and they show me something working. So, Jobin, I know we worked with a bunch of joint customers on DBT and BigQuery. Can you maybe share a little bit about what you're seeing sort of in those customers? But then also, I heard you've prepared a demo, and I'd love for you to kind of take control of the screen here and show people what you've been working on.
Sure. Let me just give you a little bit about like how customers use it and what impact they
Awesome.
have, right? First, it's clear that like DBT have had a significant impact on how data teams operate on Google Cloud. We have seen thousands of customers using DBT along with BigQuery, and we have seen the significant adoption and the influence and the level of consumption it drives into BigQuery and Google Cloud in general. DBT have been instrumental in defining and enabling role of an analytical engineer specifically. That's why you see that kind of an adoption. And the collaboration, which makes it very easy for the teams to come together and give that kind of software engineering best practices when it comes to version control and in data transformation is really awesome. Which is something to do with like the kind of demo which I will show here as well. And we have several customers using this, like including Rocket Money or Built Rewards or Vida Health or Virgin Media, O2, etc. Who have this significant adoption of BigQuery along with DBT, and definitely they have increased productivity, reduced errors, and faster delivery. And of course, it makes their data engineering life easy in a way that the transformations and everything comes into one place, and it will help them navigate their journey just like that on Google Cloud. With that said, let me share my screen to really show, quickly show a simple demo of how this can work together. Just make sure you can see the screen here. So in case if you are a brand new customer and don't have access to it, you don't have a DBT account or never tried before, you can easily sign up for a trial from BigQuery console itself through something called Partner Center. So within Partner Center, you will be able to discover DBT, and with just one click, you will be able to go to a particular page which which actually will help you with setting up your account and easily navigate to sign up for a 14-day trial. Once you have set that up, it is pretty much easy. You'll land to this particular page. The next step is to integrate DBT with BigQuery. To integrate DBT with BigQuery, you will have to establish a connection first. And when I say establishing a connection, it's simply creating a BigQuery connection. As you can see, I already have a BigQuery connection set up here. If you don't have one already, you can just click on the connect and then click on the BigQuery tile, provide a name, and then make sure if you have some sort of you're using your company account, if you have firewall restrictions, ensure the public IPs are whitelisted, which is DBT IPs are whitelisted, and then upload the JSON file. So what exactly is JSON file? You probably don't know what this is. You can just click on this connection setup guide, which will take you to this particular page, and it talks about what are the options DBT provide for you to integrate or connect with BigQuery to access the data. So in the development environment, you can use service account, JSON, BigQuery auth, as well as workload identity federation, which Sai talked about. And today I'm using service account JSON. If you don't have a service account JSON or not sure how to create it, just navigate inside Google Cloud Console, go to IAM, click on service accounts, generate a key, JSON based key, and then have it ready on your laptop. Once you have that, you click on this upload. I have created a key already, which will just load. I'm just loading it right now, and that will translate all the information, and you are ready to go. So just click. I'm not clicking it right now since I already have the existing connection. You will have everything ready. Now, BigQuery integration is done. Everything is done. Now let us jump to the Cloud IDE. I have created a simple model where I have a bunch of data going, coming out of, coming out of a particular table, which is sitting in BigQuery, and that particular table is a little bit complex in terms of I have an array and a bunch of keys and values coming into that table. I am trying to explode it and convert the key, a specific set of keys as a column and value as the value in the column. So I've written this, simple model where I'm making sure that if extracting the metadata, if it is title, then add the value and create a column name title, etc., etc., that goes through a bunch of things and convert that. And as I run this particular model, it will create after setting up the repos and things associated with it, which is needed. I'm using the dbt managed repo here. As you can see, this particular model is within that, and I am an engineer trying to do something. I got a new business requirement from the team. I created all these things, and boom, we have a particular dashboard ready, which is coming out of that model. Now, the dashboard is ready. Everything. I got a new requirement. Now, when I get a new requirement, it is to get rid of a particular field or maybe add a few one, but I accidentally made a mistake and deleted the UTM medium. I'm just coming it out for now, but or maybe you can just delete it. I deleted it accidentally, and I was trying to save the model again, and I'm trying to commit it to this updated changes from business, which is actually something they gave me, but I didn't realize I had this going. I ran the dbt model. It's actually trying to run it right now, and you probably will be able to see how the data is going into my repo. Let me just take you through this. You can see the UTM medium is already there, which is what my model is trying. It's almost complete. It's successful. I come here. UTM medium is gone. Immediately, my medium is gone. Immediately, it is a possibility that my report is broken. So the business is like, oof, where is this? My report is broken right now. I'll have to go back and see what I can do to fix it. And I'm not sure what I did here. So I can just simply go back, to dbt, change the branch to say main, which had the base SQL or the model which I create. I will just dbt run. It will just ensure that everything which I had previously from my own branch is instantiated back into the report, and it will go create the same report as needed. It's still running, and in a few seconds it should be completed. And each of these model runs are running queries within BigQuery. And let me see here. Yeah, UTM medium is added back, and suddenly or hopefully within a few seconds, my report or the business report which everybody is looking at should be refreshed any minute now. Yeah. All right, it will be in a second. There you go. So my report is back online. Business is happy. I rolled back the changes. which cause issues. And it's as simple, going from the row table to the modeled table or view I have, and created reporting on top of it using Looker Studio, and get to it end to end just like that. I just want to quickly show this of how powerful it is, and how easy it is to create models and get started, and connect to BigQuery and get going with GPT in a small quick demo. Back to you, Jeff.
Jobin, huge props for running a live demo in front of everyone. You know what I mean? Like that's nerve-wracking on the presenter side for sure. Love that it worked. But yeah, shout out for going for it. I really do appreciate that, and I think the audience does as well. So I think now it's important to bring Sandeep into the conversation. Sandeep, can you share a little bit around a little bit of your background and your responsibilities at Google, and then I'll walk through the slides you presented to get everyone up to speed on data frames on BigQuery. And I heard you might also have a demo, so we'll hold out hope for that.
Yes, I have a demo. I'm not going to do a live demo, not as brave as Jobin here.
That's all right.
but I will showcase some of the detailed code here as well. So thanks, Jeff. Yes, I am a product manager here with BigQuery, and I lead areas which enable a lot of BigQuery users go beyond SQL into areas where they can utilize Python and other languages to work with BigQuery data. I also help our users through some exciting features like BigQuery search indexes, which allow users to deploy log analytics like use cases on top of BigQuery. But today we're going to talk about one of the exciting features that we launched last year at Google Cloud Next and seen phenomenal growth over the last year, called BigQuery DataFrames. So what is BigQuery DataFrames, right? In a nutshell, it is an open source Python package from BigQuery. As a Python developer, have you ever come across scenarios where your local runtime is just not large enough or powerful enough to process your Python data? Because many times you're processing large amounts of data through your Python. The use cases being preparing your data for your models, cleaning your data, materializing your data, even training your models on large data, many times happens on hundreds of gigabytes or even sometimes terabytes of data. And that's where a single node Python runtime fails to cater to those needs, right? Yes, you can try adopt some of the distributed frameworks, open source distributed frameworks to run your Python in a scalable way. But what we really want to do with BigQuery DataFrames is simplify this journey of going from gigabytes of data to terabytes of data within the same notebook or the same runtime without having to switch to your infrastructure. And that's when we launched BigQuery DataFrames, an open source library last year. What it does is it provides users pandas-like and scikit-like interfaces, which you are very, very accustomed to do your Python data wrangling and data processing. But then behind the scene, it acts like a transpiler. It converts your Python code into BigQuery SQL code, BigQuery ML SQL code, and then lazily and optimally, it pushes it down to BigQuery. So now sitting within your notebook or sitting within your small Python runtime, you have the distributed power of BigQuery and the scale of BigQuery right at your fingertips. You can go from tens of gigabytes of data to terabytes of data without having to switch your infrastructure. And it is not just limited to these APIs that we implement, or just the Pandas APIs as well. We have expanded it in two different dimensions. First of all, you can bring your own custom Python functions and deploy them as, again, server-side functions using two different methods with a simple decorator. So you can extend with your custom data processing as well. But then we have also added a lot of new extensions to the core Pandas processing to allow you to do things like multi-model data processing, to allow you to extend into large language model processing, whether it is summarization, text generation. A lot of these capabilities are brought to you within the same interface. Same goes with vector search. Same goes with streaming data analytics. So we are expanding what we can do beyond just the Pandas and Scikit. But then again, pandas and scikit are the core of it, and which will keep strengthening as we go along. So the story here really is, how do you go from tens of gigabytes of data to hundreds of gigabytes or terabytes of data with a simple switch of a library? And to do that, we give you the different packages within this library. There's pandas, which emulates a pandas libraries, of course, and then it translates into BigQuery SQL. There's bigframes.ml. This will translate into BigQuery's native machine learning, which is BigQuery ML or BQML as it is now. So from featureizing to training to prediction, batch prediction, all of that can be done within this library. It emulates scikit. And then we have LLM extensions I just talked about. And across all of this, our goal is to give you really optimal execution. So we know best how to push these queries down to BigQuery and when to push the queries down to BigQuery. But we also make sure we execute these with your credentials, your permissions, and your BigQuery set. If you're using slot, this will end up running on slots. If you're using on demand, then it'll use on demand. And you, as a developer, get the familiarity, of the APIs that as a data scientist, as a data engineer, you have grown up with. Like pandas is something that almost everybody learns as they grow up in the data science world. So that's what BigQuery DataFrame is. Now, how does it come together with dbt, which is the topic today? So dbt has this concept called Python model. And within BigQuery's, the dbt's BigQuery adapter, we supported a version of Python model, which used to use Spark, and users have to use PySpark, maybe cluster or serverless method. There are two different methods available. But what we saw a lot of our users, they really want to run their Python code without having to worry about the infrastructure details. And with BigFrames, we are bringing that to our dbt developers with the Python support for BigQuery DataFrames. This is where you can develop your Python model simply with BigFrames code without any infrastructure setup. The infrastructure for Python runtimes and Python execution is taken care of by dbt adapter. So you are now in a place where you can mix your SQL models and your Python models without having to do any infra provisioning, any upskilling. And maybe I think this gets our users, especially the data science users, excited as they can utilize a lot of standard pandas-like or scikit-like processing for training their data, creating models, or even preparing their data through dbt. If you go to the next slide, there are some details on how it actually works and what are some of the capabilities that are available in public preview. So by the way, this is available in public preview in dbt cloud today. It is checked into the open source, and it will be available as part of the dbt core release very, very soon as well. The way the zero infrastructure thing really works here is, when you define your Python model, our dbt adapter is automatically going to create a BigQuery notebook behind the scene for you and execute it on the BigQuery side. Now, remember, this notebook only has DataFrames code, BigQuery DataFrames code, which will be transpiled and pushed down to BigQuery. So the core of processing will still push down to BigQuery, but the notebook is used as a runtime for running Python. And that has another exciting possibilities, including bringing your own libraries. You can also use dbt config to bring in your own custom Python libraries. This Python model also supports creating dependencies between different dbt models through dbt references or using an external dbt source. We also support incremental materialization, the same that BigQuery SQL model supports today. So that is also supported in Python model. And I already mentioned about custom libraries, but you can also create your own custom functions to two different methods of pushing down as server-side UDFs, and that's also available within a Python model today. Let's make it a little bit real. So if you go to the next slide, I'll describe what a demo here is going to look like. Our goal here is to train a regression model, right? And we've picked an hypothetical problem. We want to predict ozone levels in the atmosphere based on some of the public air quality data that we have available in BigQuery's public data sets. How do we do that? We are breaking this problem into two steps. How do we clean and prepare our data? And then how do we train our model, score our model and save our model using, again, DBT's Python model, but behind the scene we'll be utilizing BigQuery ML. Right? So these are two chain Python models, and this whole use case is modeled after a blog that we recently published on how to use and train regression model with BigFrame. So that's also linked here. So this is the time I'm going to now switch to my screen, Jeff. So I'll start doing a screen share here. Share an entire screen, so you will get the recursive effect to begin with, but then I think it will go away. All right. So when it comes to a Python model, as I said, there are two steps here. First, in this demo, first is how are we preparing the table, and second is how are we then getting into the prediction stage. So here is the Python model, which is under our models directory. If you can see here, there are two Python files. The first is prep, and the second is prediction. In the prep model, right, what I'm really getting into here is loading some of these data sets. You see all this pandas code, loading the Python code, loading the data sets from public BigQuery public data sets, choosing what some of the index columns that identify each of these data points, right? Then defining certain parameters in my data frames. As I'm doing all of this, right, BigQuery is BigFrames is building a SQL behind the scene. And the SQL doesn't get pushed down until there are certain trigger points. Trigger points sometimes encoded. If you just need to peek into your data. So that's a trigger point. If you have to start training a model, that's a trigger point. Until that happens, we are building a SQL. So all of this is getting converted into SQL behind the scene. But to you, it looks like a Python code, right? So here, it's like just like pandas code. I'm going through and building multiple data frames. I'm getting each and one parameter from each of these tables, whether it's CO, this is an hourly data. So whether it is carbon monoxide, and this is for O3 will be used for predictions. This pressure, temperature. There are multiple parameters that I'm bringing in from different tables in this data set. As I start building this, right, I'm putting together a larger data frame, which is called a parameters data frames, and appending just as you would do in any pandas code. There are additional data that I'm bringing in, which requires special processing, whether it's NOx data, whether it is winds data, wind speed, wind direction. All of this is brought together into one data frame. And this data frame is then the whole thing is then concatenated into one, and then I materialize this. Right? As I materialize this, let me go back to this one. Data frames. So this is the public data that I'm utilizing. As I start materializing this, you will see that I will create a table that prepares within my DBT demo. This is my Google console. Within my DBT demo project data set, I will get a table that is prepared using this data frame. Then I think the next step here is where I'm going into prediction. So this is where we are chaining. We are chaining our previous model into this model, saying what you need to utilize here is what was prepared in the same data set. And then this is where I start now getting into model training. So I have to have train data and test data. So I define my filters and I create different data frames for training, testing, and prediction. I create my X and Y's for training and testing. And I, of course, drop the O3 column because that's what I'm going to predict. So I need to get what O3 is. And then I import my linear regression library or sub package, to speak, from our BigFrames.ml. This is a scikit-like API, but it will utilize BigQuery ML behind the scenes. There are tons of BigQuery ML standard feature transformers, as well as models that can be trained through BigQuery ML. And that's what I'm going to do here using linear regression. I'll call a fit, and then I'll call score so that I know how my model is doing. And whatever I scored in this new model is created, I will use it to predict on my predict data set. And this will create a new data frame, which will be automatically materialized by our DBT BigQuery adapter, and you'll see it in my data set as well. But you can also save this model, and the model that is saved will be saved under O3 linear regression model automatically. So once I'm ready with these two files, I think there are only two little things that you have to do here, right? First of all, in your default profiles YAML file, I'm utilizing an open source here. I'm not using cloud, but you can do it in the cloud as well. We've added some new parameters like compute region. There's also, you can choose, as it executes on a notebook, you can also choose what notebook template to utilize. It uses Colab Enterprise Notebook. But if you don't choose, you'll automatically create a default template. So those are some of the optional parameters that are also available. Where are the logs? The logs are pushed into a GCS bucket, but those logs are also pulled out into DBT logs. So we do auto fetch the logs from the GCS bucket into DBT. So you don't have to go to Google Console at all if you don't want to. You can all stay within your DBT world for creating your models as well as pulling your data, pulling your logs out. And then once you are ready, you are simply doing a DBT run here. You're simply doing a DBT run here and selecting these two models that go one after the other, and your model then gets created right within BigQuery. This is the model that I created and got saved within BigQuery. But I also have the prediction table that I can look at and validate some of these things worked as expected. All right, so Jeff, if we can switch back to the presentation here.
Yeah, if you stop sharing, I will go ahead and you can do that on the screen you're showing right now in Goldcast. Perfect, thank you. I'll go ahead and start sharing. First of all, Sandeep, thank you for walking us through all of that. I very much appreciate it. There's a lot of great questions in the chat as well. But can you maybe walk some folks through, like, if they didn't catch everything, how do they get started utilizing big frames?
100%. I think there are multiple ways. First of all, we have created a great quick start that is linked here. You can simply Google DBT Big Frames Quick Start, and you'll get onto that quick start. It is a very trivial model. That's what it will build through quick start, but we'll give you an idea. As I said, you can do it through DBT Cloud as well as DBT Open Source. And it will be available through DBT Core very, very soon as well. The DBT's Python model documentation has been updated to reflect that we have a new big frame submission method as well, not just the old Spark or PySpark or Dataproc method that we had before. Again, search for DBT Python models, and you will land onto those documentation pages. And then we are updating our own documentation as well. But if you just want to learn about data frames, search for BigQuery DataFrames introduction, and you will see what data frames is and what are the different capabilities it has. And again, if you have any questions, just reach out to us at bigframes-feedback@google.com. Again, bigframes-feedback. I'll also put it on the chat, and we can help you through any of the setup issues or connect you with experts internally as well.
Yeah, awesome. Appreciate it again. And I don't know if I'm the only one that finds this amusing, but working with Google when the documentation is to go Google something, it seems very, very appropriate. So I appreciate you sharing all of that with our audience. So as we wrap up, I want to first thank every one of our presenters, Sai, Sandeep, and Jobin, for sharing not only what with all of you, the information that they have about the integration, but also doing all the hard work of making that integration work for everybody. And really excited, Sai, about what we've got coming down the pipeline as well. If you want to hear about what's coming down down the pipe with Google and DBT, you can join us at our customer conference, Coalesce, in October in Las Vegas. And if anyone out there is looking for a way to attend for free, we extended 1 week so that we could invite this audience to submit papers. If you submit a paper and it is accepted, or a talk and it's selected to be included in Coalesce, that's your free ticket to attend the event, where we're expecting thousands of folks to join us and talk about topics like the ones that we've covered today. Just a couple of things before I cut everyone loose and let you back to your day, whether you're starting or ending or right in the middle, is joining us for our launch showcase. We have probably one of the most meaningful releases DBT's ever had here at the end of the month, May 28th. We'd love for you to join and see all of the great things that we're doing at DBT. As I mentioned, joining us at Coalesce, it really is a wonderful place to connect with like-minded folks about how to work with data and DBT across all of the data challenges and opportunities that you're facing. And a number of people that have been staffing the chat are actually the experts on this integration. And so if you'd like a demo, you'd like to have a conversation about how to leverage these integrations and this partnership inside of your organization, let us know. And then please tell us if we're doing a good job. You're going to get follow-up after this, after attending, and really interested to say, not only did we do a good job today, but what do you want to hear about next? Now, I saw a number of questions come through on the Q&A, probably more than we could get to live. You have the commitment of this team that we've captured all of those questions, and over the course of the next few days, we will provide you with answers to your questions. So understand that submitting them was not a waste, and you will in fact get an answer. We're just running ourselves out of time. So with that, I want to thank everyone for joining. I want to thank Sandeep, Jobin, and Sai again for sharing the things that they've been working on. And if anyone's got any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to the Google team, the DBT team. We're working closely together and happy to, and really excited to see what you all build together. So with that, have a great rest of your day, and thanks for joining.
Thank you.